Hello everyone and welcome to a video that's hopefully going to be crammed full of geeky goodness. I think we all deserve one of these videos. So basically what's going on in this one is I'm going to hopefully give my Mac Pro a new life and a bit of a breath of fresh air, because I'm not going to beat around the bush. My Mac Pro isn't performing as it should. Now there are a few reasons for this. First reason, I haven't install of Lion on here that's pretty damn old. I've got a load of updates I need to do, and when did I install Lion? Like when it pretty much came out, so it's quite an old install. Also, my system is littered with random stuff because for the past 3 or 4 months, I'm normally a very organised person on the computer, at least not in real life with paperwork and stuff like that, but on the computer I'm normally quite organised, and this time, well, for the past 3 or 4 months, I just basically haven't been, so everything's a complete mess. And the whole thing is slowing down. So my operating system at the moment is booting off a Western Digital Caviar Black, which is no slouch of a drive. However, in this day and age with everyone going SSD, it's kind of something that I really want to do. So I do indeed have an SSD, like you all know. I've got a Samsung 830 256GB SSD, and it's sitting in my Power Mac G4 doing absolutely nothing. So the plan is, I'm going to whip out the Samsung 830 from my Power Mac G4, stick it in the Mac Pro, and then when I do the Power PC challenge, I'll just buy another Samsung 830. No big deal. That's a lot better than having it wasting in my G4, just rotting away basically. So at the moment I'm backing up Time Machine. I'll explain about that right now actually, because it's a little bit frustrating. Okay, so this top one here with the blinking light, that is a 3TB USB 3.0 Western Digital MyBook. I think they call it the Essential drive. And yeah, like I said, it's USB 3.0, and everything was working really, really well. I had it plugged into my USB 3.0 card, but then a few months ago I did a Lion update, and all of a sudden my USB 3.0 card stopped working. So that's really, really strange. It's not really a shock to me because they're kind of, you know, they're kind of crappy cards really, but the drive is really, really nice obviously, and I've just got it running off USB 2.0. So I'm doing a long-awaited Time Machine backup right now. It's mainly probably just backing up a load of crap that I don't even need, but you know, I want to be more safe than sorry, because to lose files would be a pain, because I'm doing a totally fresh install. I'm going to stick in the SSD and hopefully boot Mountain Lion off a DVD and install Mountain Lion. So I really want to be all fresh and that with the SSD. So that's basically that. One thing I've got to do is I've got 5 drives here on my desktop, 3 internal, 2 external, and I want to jump into Disk Utility now and just familiarise myself with what bays they're in and what's actually stored on them, just so I know what I'm doing. Okay, so here's the sidebar in Disk Utility. You're not going to get any screen flow action or anything like that. First off, we've got my 2TB Western Digital Caviar Black, and that is a scratch disk, and backing that up is simply my 2TB Firewire 800 external. So I called that Scratch Clone because I used Super Duper to clone that. I used to use Carbon Copy Cloner, but it then became a paid application and I was like, no way. Then I've got a 640GB a 1TB Western Digital Caviar Black, and that is my Macintosh HD. So that has my operating system, applications, pictures, music, films, TV shows and all that stuff on there, and that is backed up by my Time Machine drive, which is a 3TB drive. I also have a 640GB drive called Storage, and that's where I store all of my YouTube export videos and exports for all of the video editing that I do. So the 2TB is simply a scratch disk, so that's, you know, capture, scratch, render, scratch for Final Cut, and then the 640GB is more the exporting and the finished projects basically, even though I think the raw Final Cut projects are stored on the scratch disk as well. But yeah, so storage and Macintosh HD are both backed up on the Time Machine drive. So the plan for me is to install the SSD. I'll then have all 4 of my bays fully occupied in my Mac Pro. Obviously, I will no longer have an operating system on this drive, but I can then dedicate that 1TB drive to my iTunes drive because I can store my applications, my operating system, and my documents, things like Word documents and stuff like that. I can store all that on the SSD. So, my Time Machine drive is 3TB, so it's big enough to back up my 1TB drive, my 640GB drive, and my 256GB SSD. And then the 2TB scratch disk and the 2TB scratch clone will remain totally untouched. So, if I remember correctly, the 1TB drive is in Bay 1. There you go, Bay 1. The 2TB drive is in Bay 2, and the 640GB is in Bay 3. So all I'm going to do is basically move all of those over. So the 1TB will be in Bay 2, 2TB in Bay 3, 640GB in Bay 4, and then I'll put the SSD in Bay number 1. So, what I'm going to do, while this is finishing off the Time Machine transfer, I'm going to quickly whip out the SSD from my Power Mac G4. And I'm going to need to also look for my Mountain Lion DVD. I do indeed have a Mountain Lion DVD, because for those of you who don't know, I installed Mountain Lion on my MacBook Pro. So, I burnt a DVD for that, I believe. Or did I? That's the question. I'll look for a DVD. If I haven't got one, I'll just burn one. Because I think I did burn one, so I should have one, but yeah. Okay, I'm going to have to look. So yeah, first off, time to whip out the SSD from my Power Mac. So just because you guys haven't seen it for a while, then here's the inside of my Power Mac, looking absolutely wicked. As far as I remember from the upgrade videos, I did get this all working. I just need to install the graphics card drivers just to stop my dual display problems. But I've got a light scribe burner in there. I've got I think it's a 2 or maybe even a 3TB caviar green. Can't remember what I put in there. Probably 2TB caviar green, maybe 3. I don't know. I've got the SSD that I'm going to whip out. Obviously, 2GB of RAM, fully loaded up. Extra cooling options. X800 XT, beast of a card. USB 2.0 card, SATA card. Random VGA graphics card for testing purposes. But yeah, these drives aren't screwed in, so what I'm going to do is whip them out live. So I've got these nice green SATA cables here that I'm just going to whip out the way. They're all bent into shape nicely. I've also got one of these funky double black Molex power cables. And without further ado, let's pull the lever and whip them out. So here we have the drive cage for the Power Mac G4. I'll be able to see exactly the capacity of the hard drive once I take out the SSD, because the SSD is in this top enclosure to convert it, of course, from 3.5 inch to convert it from 2.5 inch to 3.5 inch. Can't get my words out today. But anyway, I'm just going to pull out these 4 screws and we're going to whip out the SSD. The 4 screws are out and that moment has now come. Here we have the SSD. Not looking too impressive because it's just in its enclosure. Yeah, 2TB. Thought I wouldn't have splashed out for a 3TB. Don't think they even work actually because of the limitations of the SATA 1 card, I'm not too sure. But here we have this enclosure. It's really, really nice. If I remember correctly, I can just literally pop the lid on it to show you guys. There you have it. There's my Samsung 830 256GB. There you have it. They now have newer versions of these, I believe, so that's pretty cool, but I don't know how different they are, but you know, that's what happens if you buy tech and then ignore it or leave it in the box or leave it in an unused computer for months on end, then you know, things will move on and you'll still be lagging behind. But here it is. looking pretty nice, and that's ready to throw into the Mac Pro pretty much straight away as soon as the Time Machine backup finishes, and it's looking pretty good. So what I'm just going to do now is make sure that everything is backed up. I don't want to leave anything behind. Guys, I've just seen a little bit of worrying information. Like I said, I haven't been keeping on top of my system, so I don't really know what's happening, but yeah, unfortunately I've only got 80 gigabytes free on my scratch disk. I did have about 600 gigs free last time I checked, but I have had quite a few big projects, so you know, obviously 80 gigs is enough to do some YouTube videos, but that 80 gigs isn't going to last forever. So I'm going to have to think pretty sharp about what I want to do. I do have a 2 terabyte Caviar Green sitting right here, which is, you know, Caviar Green's no good for being an active scratch disk, but it's fine for storage. So what I may do is simply throw all of this data onto there, put this in a box in storage somewhere, and basically erase this and start my scratch disk again, so that when this becomes full again, I'll have 4 terabytes of scratch disk data. Kind of worrying, really. Now, a lot of people ask me why do I keep it. Basically, the majority of this, out of the, you know, 1.91 terabytes of video on here, probably about 1.6 terabytes of that is capture. Maybe 1.5 terabytes of that is capture. Now, if I ever want to make a compilation video of all of my videos or whatever, like if I want to make a big video, say if I get to 500 videos and I want to get a load of clips together and make a montage, I have to use the capture data, the footage that I originally captured from this camera. You may be wondering why. Well, it's quite simple, because the footage that you're viewing on YouTube right now is so compressed. It's literally compressed within an inch of its life. Because of my internet connection, really, I have to compress every one of my videos down to about 150 megabytes, 200 megabytes just to get it uploaded. So if I ever wanted to make a montage, I wouldn't turn to my export videos to do it. And of course, the export videos can often be 20, 25, even 30 minutes long. So I would much prefer turn to short clips within the Capture Scratch, which is really easily accessible because it's just one folder in Finder. I scroll through, find the clip I want, you know, easily, and you know, it's arranged within projects and date of projects as well. You know, I wanted to keep everything arranged nicely, so it's a little bit of a downside, but I'll think of something. I'm not going to worry about that now. What I'm going to focus on now is my boot disk, and just see where we go from there, really. Well, I'm just playing the waiting game now. It's cleaning up, so I assume it's, you know, doing its deleting previous backups that it doesn't need, and all its, you know, clever Time Machine arranging things. I've taken the majority of the stuff off the top of the Mac Pro, ready for me to just quickly whip it out. All that stuff's down there. And I'm just absolutely dying to get this SSD in. And I've actually completely forgotten to look for my Mountain Lion disc, so bear with me. The disc inserted does not have enough free space. So Mountain Lion, because it's 4.75 gigabytes, is refusing to fit on a standard DVD. So luckily, I have a dual layer DVD right here. It's in fact my last one. I ordered 6 of these in 2009, and I've used them for various Leopard installs on various Power Macs ever since. Now, I've been using the same... Sorry about the dodgy angle there, guys. I've been using the same Leopard installed DVD that I burnt back in 2009 for all of my Power Macs and stuff like that. But I had a lot of failed burns initially back in the day, so hopefully hopefully this will go quite smoothly. If not, no big deal. I'll install it from an external device. It's just a little easier for me if I can do it on DVD, because as you guys can imagine, with the amount of hard drives and stuff that I've got floating around, it's just a bit of a mission really. But we'll soon find out. We're going to hit burn right here. And there you go, ready to burn. So my drive has successfully recognised that it's a dual layer disk, and hopefully we'll have no problems as I get a text message in the background. So I'm going to tidy up a little bit of this while that's burning, and I will catch you guys very soon. Okay, so I've been waiting a little while. We're about halfway through, maybe a bit more than halfway through, but really want to get this installed now. It is about 25 to 4, and well, I've got about until I need to be anywhere 25 to 5, 25 to 6, maybe even about 3 hours, 2.5 hours probably, until I need to be anywhere. But ideally, after installing this, I'd like to get my my clips from this video imported, so that when I come back tonight I can edit them and export overnight and then upload tomorrow maybe. But that may not happen, considering the fact that I have to install all of my applications like Final Cut and all the video converters and stuff. So let's see what happens basically. I don't really know how long it's going to take to install either. So hopefully we can get this show on the road fairly soon, because I'd really like to have a nice, speedy, usable Mac. For that I need a new GPU as well, but that's a completely different story. I just popped on my channel to see when I did the Lion install, and it was July 2011. So it's about 1.5 years old. This install of Lion that I'm using is about 1.5 years old, and I've always been a fan of doing fresh installs. I really like it, because I just think it's a chance to start again. I always sort through my documents, sort through pretty much everything, because what I'll do is I'll keep everything on the Time Machine drive, just retrieve the things that I want from the Time Machine drive, and then erase it and just start fresh. If I lose anything, it's my own fault, and it's pretty much worth it, considering the fact that I want to be all, well, as I keep saying, fresh basically. But yeah, still waiting for this disc to burn. Been sitting here for quite a while now, but it's just about finishing. So that's pretty damn awesome. Hopefully next clip my Mac Pro will be all shut down and ready to go. Check that out, what's just popped out the oven. Let's whip that out for now. And just pop it there for safekeeping. Actually, I'm installing straight away. Let's pop it back in. We can see if it works then, see if it mounts and works. Okay, so let's pop that in there. Let's get some more light on the go actually. Considering it is getting darker outside and the video will begin to deteriorate in quality quite quickly, because this camera cannot cope with low light at all. Let's quit all this stuff. There we go. And just wait for the disc to spin up and see what happens. There you have it. There's the Mountain Lion installer sorted. Right then, we're going to do this live on camera. Left-handed mouse action, of course. Shut down. Yeah, shut down. And we're going to wait for this beast to finish shutting down while I get a text message again in the background. And let's yank some of this stuff out. So what I'm going to do is unplug everything, guys, and then basically pop you on the tripod and shift about all these hard drives, which will be a very fun process. Okay, so let's pop off the side door to my Mac Pro that isn't actually looking too dusty, surprisingly. So that's pretty cool. Now, if I remember correctly, we should have an empty enclosure at the end here. I haven't popped the latch. There we go. Yeah, here we have an empty one with 2 missing screws because I accidentally pinged them off, but the SSD in its enclosure is very light, so I'm not going to need that. So basically what I'm going to do is move all of these over. So at the end here we have my 640 gig Caviar Blue. In the second bay, we should have my 2 terabyte Caviar Black. There it is in all its glory. Quite a heavy drive, that one. In the first bay, we have my now old boot drive. And that is the 1 terabyte black, which will be devoted to iTunes only now, which is really nice to have a terabyte for iTunes. I believe my iTunes library is about 400 gigabytes as it stands. So I'm definitely not going to need to upgrade that for a long time, which is really, really good. I think it's about 50 gigs of music, about 200 gigs of film, and then 150 gigs of TV shows, something like that. But I could probably clean that up quite a bit, considering I still have a load of iPhone applications on there and stuff, even though they don't take up that much space. But anyway, time to screw this guy in. So that's super easy. Basically, let me grab my screwdriver. And we will just pop her on like so. Only 2 screws to screw in. It'll definitely be stable enough, considering there's no moving parts at all in this in an SSD. So let's just screw that on. Sorry if you're not getting a very good view, guys, but this is just a quick 2-minute job. Now, that could do with actually quite a bit more stability, but there's not a lot I can do about it at the moment, and it really doesn't matter once it's plugged in. So, there it goes, plugged in, all 4 drives are in, all 4 bays are occupied, which is quite an interesting day. Yeah, so no more room for hard drive expansion unless I take a smaller one out and put a bigger one in. So that's quite interesting. Next thing on the list is a new graphics card, but considering the state of my scratch disk, I'm really going to need to think of a quick solution to getting some more storage for video editing. So that's my Mac Pro. I'm going to pop it back on its podium, plug everything in, and hopefully it fires up and it recognises the SSD. Check this crazy stuff out, guys. It booted straight up into Leopard from the SSD, which is sweet. But obviously we want to erase that, so what we're going to do is hit restart and hold down the Option key when we restart, because we have 3 possible places for this Mac to boot from. So it's going to get a little bit confusing. So this is pretty exciting though, because I wasn't expecting Leopard to pop up there, because I didn't remember that I'd installed it on the SSD. So that's pretty interesting, but nevertheless, we're going to take a quick little gander at the boot menu here. Hopefully the DVD pops up. If not, then we'll just use Leopard. No, I'm only kidding. That would be quite tricky. So it's spinning up the DVD. Okay, there you go. We've got all sorts here. We've got our Macintosh SSD, which is Leopard, Macintosh HD, which is Lion, Macintosh Recovery HD, Time Machine, and Mac OS X. So we're of course going to boot from Mac OS X. Okay, so this is going to take a little while to boot from the DVD. I will point the camera at the screen once more when we get some progress. Well, that took nothing short of an age to boot from the DVD. But at least we're here at the Mountain Lion installer, hopefully to install a fresh operating system on the SSD. Sorry about the really dodgy camera angle, everyone. It's pretty tricky to get the tripod in to film the screen. But we just press use English as our main language, and we're waiting for the next part. Cool. So we have an option to go into disk utility, which is what I want to do. And from disk utility, I want to I want to go straight to the SSD and erase that. So let's just first find it. Okay, so there's a lot of disks here for it to look at, but basically here's the SSD, because it says Macintosh SSD, and here it is. So we're going to go over to erase, and we're going to call it Macintosh SSD. There we go. Erase and erase. So that should fly through that, and that's totally done. Cool. So we're going to exit disk utility, and we're going to reinstall OS 10 and hit continue. So hopefully now we'll have the option to install it straight onto the SSD, which would be really good. Okay, OS 10 Mountain Lion. Once we get rid of our beach ball, we can press continue. Continue. Agree. Agree. I'm not the biggest fan of this background that they've got going on these days, this sort of grey background with a gradient. It looks like something you do back in the 90s in Microsoft Paint or something. But anyway, it's asking for our install destination. So we are going to hit Macintosh SSD and hit install. But randomly, it just sent us straight back to where we were. So we're going to try it again. Macintosh SSD. Install. There we go. That was strange. Maybe I hit the wrong button. I can't remember. But anyway, that should be installing. It says preparing to install, your computer will restart automatically. Cool. I'll keep you guys updated. Check out these very accurate time estimations. I kind of appreciate that it's going down. So that's pretty cool. This whole process has taken about 10 minutes maybe, and now at the end we seem to have gone into this strange little part. But, you know, it's all cool. I don't really mind waiting 356 million hours. Anyway, I'll keep you updated. Alright, so we're at this stage again because I was a complete doofus and didn't plug in the Ethernet cable. I completely forgot that these modern Mac operating systems tend to heavily rely on the internet connection during the installation progress. So it popped up with a message kindly reminding me that it couldn't download any information and it couldn't continue installing. So then I had to restart the whole caboose and erase the SSD again, and now I'm back here. But this time, this is actually moving one hell of a lot quicker. So I assume that plugging in the Ethernet cable actually did help. So that's a bit of a setback, which is annoying because I am just dying to use my Mac. I just want to get this video uploaded really, but yeah, this seems to be going really quick, so that's obviously a good thing. I just hope it doesn't take too long to restart, because in my experience of installing Lion and whatnot, from what I can remember, it took an absolute age to restart after this step. But it should all be cool. So like I keep saying, I'll keep you all updated. Right then, a little bit of confusion I have now is the fact that it says that it can't retrieve data from online, but I just went onto the built-in browser on the install DVD and hit Facebook in the bookmarks, and it popped up. So the internet is working just fine. Obviously it's really, really slow because I'm booting from a DVD, but it does have access to the internet, as you can see here. So I'm not really too sure what's going on. I'm going to give it one more go now that it's actually accessed the internet. I'm going to close the browser here and just give it one more go. And then if it doesn't work, I'm not too sure what I'm going to do, but I do know that I'm running out of time, and also patience is becoming a little bit of an issue as well as I go out of focus. So yeah, hopefully this runs smoothly this time, because I kind of need to use my Mac. So I've got the error again for like the 4th time now, so what I'm going to do is pop in my Lion disk that I know works perfectly because I installed Lion on this Mac before. I've put all my stuff back, by the way. So I'm going to pop in my Lion disk, do a fresh install of Lion on the SSD, and then install Mountain Lion as an update from there. So this is going to take a little while, but hopefully it'll be worth it. Okay, so we're now at the same screen, but instead of macOS 10 Mountain Lion, we have macOS 10 Lion on the go. So hopefully this will work. I really don't understand why the other installer couldn't retrieve information from the internet, considering that I was connected, and I verified that by going into the help browser on the DVD itself, and I could connect to the internet just fine and use the internet. As well as that, the other thing that it could be, I think, might be like, because the Mountain Lion disk that I downloaded is it's like 10.8.0, so it's old. So have Apple then since updated their something online that you need to download during the installation? I have no idea, but it might be worth grabbing a newer Mountain Lion download. The reason my Mountain Lion download was so old is simply because I already had it for my MacBook Pro that installed just fine whenever I installed it a few months ago. So yeah, hopefully this will go quite smoothly, and hopefully it'll just install Lion and then let me install Mountain Lion straight over the top of it. That would be pretty good. Developments since the last clip then, it is hours and hours later. I've been out. I'm now back and I feel like crap. It's not too late. It's basically about 10 o'clock. Can't even really see my watch. But I'm just transferring the Mountain Lion DMG over to the desktop on Lion, so Lion successfully installed. I've just taken the disk out the optical drive, so this is Lion. It's kind of annoying because I was hoping to come back tonight to just a working computer, you know, but one plus side is everything's really snappy, you know, because it's all running off an SSD now. So, you know, system prefs, click, boom, there it is. No more bouncing 7 or 8 times in the dock. So yeah, I'm generally pleased with the responsiveness of the system. Just really hope this Mountain Lion update goes smoothly. It should, because I updated my MacBook Pro with this method, and yeah, I hope I can get Mountain Lion on here, otherwise this entire thing would have been really pointless. But if it doesn't go on, I don't really care. I'll just restore from my previous Time Machine backup, because I haven't really got much more time to be fussing around with all this crap, basically, because that's what it is when you've got to fuss around with all this stuff. But I guess you could turn around and say if I just did everything properly and legitimately, then everything would work. But, you know, all I can say to that is whatever. Anyway, this is just about to transfer, so I'm going to double click it and see what happens. So we're back to this screen that kept giving me errors before, and of course it's running one hell of a lot quicker now because it's running off of the internal SSD rather than the DVD drive. So let's see if it can retrieve the information it needs from the internet. Just as a little bit of confirmation, if I just launch Safari here, you can see that we are successfully online. Apple Store, no problems there at all. Everything's working as it should. So hopefully this will work just fine. So that's a really good site. We're about halfway through the installation process of Mountain Lion. It says about 17 minutes remaining, which is really bizarre considering the fact that I've been sitting at this screen for approximately 2 minutes and the bar shot up to halfway, and now it's just slowed down. So all the time estimations that they give you, like on these Mac installations, are completely just total garbage, really. I just really want to get on the Mountain Lion desktop, and then at least it'll keep my mind occupied tonight, sorting all this stuff out, because it's going to take me ages to transfer everything and get all my apps installed, which I'm quite looking forward to because I'm in the mood to do something productive and something that's actually worthwhile, not to sound all depressed or anything, but I just feel, it's just a horrible feeling coming home to this install, after, you know, all I want to do is sit on my Mac and just watch random videos and stuff. That's all I want to do, but I can't do that yet. One thing I want to talk about is my mouse, actually. Not my mouse, but, you know, whatever mouse, is the whole mountain lion inverted scrolling thing, because I've got it enabled on my MacBook Pro, and when I plug an external mouse into my MacBook Pro, I really quite like it. I'm getting the hang of it. And of course, this one I had on normal scrolling, and going between my MacBook Pro upstairs and this one downstairs has been a bit weird. So I'm really debating with the idea of just keeping it like the weird scrolling that they've introduced in the last couple of operating systems, or Mountain Lion or whatever. But the tricky thing is, all the computers that you're going to come across for the next ages, really, like all the computers that I use in college, just computers everywhere, everyone's computer is, you know, the scrolling the old way. And you know, I'm not making a big deal about the scrolling thing or anything, but it's like the speed and usability of your machine. You know, I want to be able to, you know, use it well. And of course you've got my gaming PC to think about, but, you know, whatever. I think I'm just gonna see what happens, just scroll how I scroll, and not worry about it, because my mind's just going off on a tangent worrying about random things at the moment. So I'll give you an update once this is installed. Alright, so another update, and no, everything isn't running smoothly. Everything's running very quickly, but one of my displays completely isn't working, despite countless effort. And also, the amount of artifacting that I'm getting is out of this world, most notably there. Okay, that's not good. And pretty much anywhere with a snazzy effect. So, it's kind of not looking too great, if I'm honest. Check out that glitchy, don't know if you guys can see that, glitchy sort of movement there. There you go. Did you see that wipe over the screen there? Just graphics are really suffering. I don't even know if the X1900 XT is supported on this OS, but it looks like it isn't. So I don't know. I'm going to jump into Google, do some searching, and if I don't come up with anything, I'm literally going to stick my foot through the side of this thing. Got my answer straight away. Mountain Lion supports the Mac Pro 2008, as we already knew, but it doesn't support my video card. What should I do now is the question. And the answer is, I am so tempted to jump onto eBay and buy a video card, but I just don't know what the hell to buy. I don't know whether I should downgrade to Lion again or what. I really don't know what to do. So, that's annoying. I may place a bid on one of these bad boys, even though it's not really a bad boy. It's just a 5770. I'd like to get an official Apple card, just because I want my Mac to work. I don't really care about power, and the 5770 will absolutely annihilate the X1900 that I have in there. So, you know, I'm going to bid on this, 100 quid or whatever it is, and it's ending in 3 days. So what I'm going to do now, guys, is roll back my Mac Pro, restore from my Time Machine backup. It's going to take forever, but, you know, whatever. And I'm going to chill online for a bit. At least I'll be chilling online with my SSD, and maybe I won't be able to restore from Time Machine because my SSD isn't big enough. But anyway, you probably won't get any more updates from me because I'm kind of sick of this now. Hey everyone, this is just a quick outro clip. It is now the next day. Sorry about last night. I got really annoyed. Like seriously annoyed. But just in case you didn't really catch what was going on, I installed Lion on my SSD, then upgraded from Lion to Mountain Lion on the SSD, to only find that my graphics card was unsupported in Mountain Lion. Should have checked that, didn't cross my mind. Not a problem, I just need a new graphics card. So, at the moment, I've left the SSD in the Mac Pro with Mountain Lion installed, but I have booted back into the 1TB drive, so I'm completely ignoring the SSD for now until I get a new graphics card. I was going to try and put Lion on the SSD, but then I thought, you know what, stuff it. I'm just going to run from the same install that I've been running for the last year and a half or whatever off the 1TB Caviar Black, and then once I do get the funds for a graphics card, I will buy one and then use the SSD with Mountain Lion. The reason I can't pop a bid on that card I was talking about last night is because I don't have enough money, because I've just taken delivery for a very expensive product that I've just dumped a lot of cash into, that I'm about to film an unboxing video of, actually. So, you know, pluses and minuses. Good things. I'm glad I got the SSD in. I'm glad it works, and I've had a little experience of how speedy it is, and I'm really looking forward to using it. Another good point is this has given me a kick up the arse to finally buy a new graphics card, because I've been wanting to do it since I basically got my Mac Pro, because the X1900 XT is a horrendously loud card, and you don't even get much power in return for the decibel level, really. And then, of course, the bad points are I'm going to have to wait a long time now before I'll have enough money for a graphics card, because I have to prioritise certain other things, and my SSD is still pretty much wasted for a little while at least. So, you know, upsides and downsides, but it's all good. I'm looking forward to getting a new graphics card. It's going to really give my Mac Pro a breath of fresh air along with the SSD, and it's going to seem like a totally new system. So that'll be absolutely fantastic. Thanks for watching this 35-40 minute long video. I'm just currently editing it now and recording this clip as just a little outro. So I hope you guys have enjoyed, and please join me in my unboxing video that I've got for you guys. It's a really exciting one.